Hello, everybody. It is Professor Parish, and we are on English 122, week 4. We're halfway through after this week, which is crazy, right? This semester is going to fly by in July. It always does. And so I wanted to kind of give you guys a heads up. We're going to talk about week 4, which is this week through July 3rd. I know it's 4th of July weekend, so everybody's going to be busy. And so hopefully you take the initiative to do these assignments early on in the week so that you have the weekend off to enjoy 4th of July with family and friends and all that fun stuff. But I want to give you guys a heads up just on the next couple of weeks, because I know next week, usually the 5th week, everybody kind of goes, because we're finishing up poetry this week. Your second paper is going to be due. I'm going to talk about revising the first paper in this video. So I've had a lot of questions about how to revise, things like that. I'm going to talk about that in this video and then give you guys some pointers about that. But your poetry paper is going to be due. And then next week, if you want to go ahead and look ahead at week 5, you'll notice that the thesis and outline as well as paper 3 are due the same week. And that seems like you may be thinking, oh, we have to do the thesis outline and our draft in the same week. Yes, because like I said at the beginning of the semester, we don't focus a lot on drama. Drama is the easiest paper in the class. We'll talk about it next week, but it's literally the easiest paper. You're either writing about a play or you're creating your own short play. So it's very, very simple. And we'll talk a little bit about theater, but we don't focus a lot about drama in this class because there are other drama classes SIC offers. We have introduction, we have intro to theater, theater appreciation, we have intro to drama, which focuses solely on plays. So because we have those classes that uniquely focus on drama, we're just going to introduce it in week 5, talk about it a little bit. You're going to do a short paper on it, and that's going to be it. But the reason why I have the paper due the same week as the thesis and outline is because if you look ahead, we only have week 6, 7, and 8 are the last 3 weeks of class. And I want you to have plenty of time to work on your final paper because the final paper is a bit longer than your other papers. So when we get to week 6, we'll talk about that, which will be July 11th. But up until then, I want to give you as much time as possible to work on that final paper. All right. So yeah, next week will seem a little bit rushed with paper 3, but I've had students over and over again tell me it's the easiest paper of the class. So I feel like, okay, we can do that for this week because it's a very simple paper. But your poetry paper is due this week. So let's talk about module 4. As far as readings go, there's just a couple pages that I just wanted you guys to kind of look at the terminology for the final exam. We don't have a midterm in this class. Your midterm is really paper 2 and the drama exam. That's really it. Or the poetry exam rather, not the drama exam, poetry exam. So those are really your midterms, or your second paper and your poetry exam. So the only things I would like you to look at is there's a page about song, sound, rhythm, closed and open form, symbol, myth, and then poetry and personal identity. They're just one-page excerpts on these, but they definitely, if you're still trying to find terminology and ways to describe the poems you're comparing and contrasting or that you yourself created, if you're still struggling with finding terms that will work to identify the decisions that you've made in either analyzing or creating those poems, then these pages right here may give you a lot of terminology and some interesting feedback that you can incorporate into your paper. So definitely check these pages out. They'll likely be on your final exam, some notes from them, so just kind of be aware of that. And then you have 4 assignments for this week. You have the discussion forum, the poetry exam, the reading response, and paper 2. So let's talk about those. The reading response is basically just, again, using some poems from our textbook, this time from chapters 21 through 28, which are the last chapters on poetry that kind of talk about the terms I just mentioned in the module guide. So with your 4 poems, I want to know, question 1, what were your 4 poems that you chose and why did you choose them? Based on the terminology in chapters 21 through 28, which term about poetry fits each poem best and why? So that's, again, your own personal opinion. And then which poem was your favorite and why? And which poem did you like the least and why? So these are very opinionated questions. I just want to know that you've read some poetry from our textbook. You've been able to discern like how they fit in with the terminology in our textbook. And you can tell me why you liked them or why you didn't like them. And so the last reading response, everybody has done well on. So I'm pretty excited about that. Or at least the last several reading responses. So I'm excited about that. And then your paper 2 draft, which is your poetry paper, it's due by Sunday. Please note it should only be submitted as a doc, DOX, RTF, or PDF file. No other formats will be accepted. And then if you submit your draft, you will get a chance to revise it, and revisions will be due July 18th after I return feedback. So you do still need to make sure that you turn in your paper. That's the only way you get to revise it, is if you turn something in. And then after that, you'll get a chance to revise for a better grade. All right. Okay. So this week, let's look at a week 4 discussion poem. We're talking about slam poetry this week. If you're not familiar with slam poetry, it's definitely a more performative poetic genre. It usually involves audience interaction or participation. It's meant to be read aloud. That's kind of the thing about slam poetry. It's not meant to just be read. It's meant to be performed. It's meant to be vocalized. It's meant to be listened to. So I've got this site here called Digital Poet. So if we open up here, you'll see some spoken word poems. And so there's different categories here. There's like social issues, things about drugs, love, emotional, story, short poems. We'll do the short poems one. So there's a couple here that are, there's 9 here, and we'll just do like the golden ticket one. So if you click on it, it's got the lyrics right here, right? So you'll be able to listen to them, to hear it. And some of these poems do have vocal or audio options to see them, but some of them don't. So unfortunately, I'll have to edit this to say that you can read or listen to it. I want to note that some of these slam poems do have mature themes to them. So if you are like a high school student taking this class, please note that there are going to be some mature adult themes in some of these poems. So just be aware that that may happen depending on the poem that you read. So if your poem does not option and does not have an audio option, some of them won't, unfortunately. They used to, when this site used to have a digital option, an audio version for all the poems, but they don't now, which is frustrating. If the poem you pick does not have an audio option, then just read it aloud to yourself and read it out loud. Like if you're in your room, read it out loud and see how you envision the audience. So question 2, how do you envision the audience participating when this poem is read aloud? So when you read it out loud, if there's not an audio file for it, how do you imagine the audience would react to it? That would be question number 2. Question 1 is asking which poem you chose and why. And then based on last week's discussion, can you notice a difference in slam poetry versus other poetry when it's spoken out loud? And explain your answer. So like I said, some of these options on here will have an audio file you can listen to, others will not. And I will edit this discussion form so that it reflects that. And then your poetry exam, there's no time limit, but you can only submit it once. It's exactly like our fiction exam. There is no time limit to it. You just have to answer the questions and submit it. So if I preview it, I'll show you guys what it looks like. It's pretty short. There's only 4 questions. The first one is a matching one where you're going to match the poetic terms with the answers. So you'll just pick one from the drop down and that'll be it. Question 2 is asking for you to define and give an example of the following terms. So there's 2 parts to this. You'll get a point for defining alliteration and onomatopoeia, and you'll get a point for giving an example of each. If you don't give an example, you only get half the points. All right? And then question 3 says, imagery is a collective set of images in a poem or other literary work. What are the 3 types of imagery in our textbook that's talked about in chapter 19? What are they? And give an example of each. I have a lot of students forget to give that example, and that usually costs them points. And then finally, what is the difference between denotation and connotation? Like, what is the dictionary definition of the 2 of them? So that's it. It's a very short poetry quiz, not long at all. All right. So before we round out this video, let me talk about revising. So I've pulled up a paper on here. I pulled up Peyton's paper. Peyton did a really good job with his fiction paper comparing and contrasting these stories. But I picked his out because there were just a few tiny minor grammar errors, so I can show you guys how to correct these. Now, when I'm at work, I have a PC, and at home I have a Mac. So I'm actually showing this. This is Pages on a Mac, but it functions the same way as a Microsoft Word document. So if you pull up this paper, your paper I've sent back with revision edits. Now, the only way that you may not see revision edits is if you submitted a PDF. Like I said in previous lecture videos, if you submitted a PDF, I can't edit it. I can just give you general feedback and you'll have to go back and edit yourself. But if you sent a rich text document or a Word document, I can edit those. So if you've gotten your paper back with my edits, you will probably see when you open the paper up, it needs to be through a program like Microsoft Word, or if you have a Mac, through Pages. you'll notice that there's a red line out to the side here. Do you guys see that little red line? Okay, that red line means that there is a grammar edit in that sentence. So I can see here that there's something in red. Now, with my Mac, when I put my mouse over it, it shows me what has been changed. In Word on a PC, you'll have to right-click on the red text. You'll right-click on it, and it will have these two options, either to accept the changes that I made or to reject them. All you have to do is accept. So if I click accept, you'll notice that now the edit has been made. And when I click on this here, it should be done. Let me go down here and try another one. Okay, so like here, typically I'll do accept, and there's that. Okay. All right, so there's that one. And then I may go down here and do like here, accept, and that's that. Okay. Now, on my Mac document, it's not getting rid of this red line, which is frustrating. But if you do it on a Word document, once you've made those edits and you've clicked accept, then this red line should disappear. If it doesn't on a Word document, it means you still have an edit left to make in that sentence. You want to get rid of all those red lines, and then at that point, you can resubmit your revisions. And all you do is just email me your revisions. I think there's been a couple students already emailed them. That's perfect. And as long as I get your emailed revisions by this weekend, then I can update your grade online for your first papers. Okay? Oh, there's one right here. So I'll do like cross country, accept it, we're good. There's like a little comma there, I'll accept it. Okay, see, when I did the accept it there, it disappeared. It made that red line disappear. So something, yep, it's made that disappear as well. So something right here is funky. I don't know exactly what it's asking me for there, but your red line should disappear. I'll have to play around and see what that is. But yeah, your red line should disappear once you've made those corrections, okay? So if you have any questions about this, just make sure you open your document in a Word document. You should be able to see red lines out to the side here, and you should be able to right-click on those edits and then accept or reject them, accept them into the paper, and once that's all done, you can resubmit it, okay? So if you have any questions, please let me know. I don't want to keep that. All right, but that's module 4. So you got your reading response, turning your poetry paper, your discussion forum, and your exam. And like I said, the exam and reading response should be pretty easy to do, and then it's just turning your paper in the discussion forum. If you want to go ahead and work ahead and think about what your poetry paper is going to be about, you can go ahead to week 5. It's open, and you can click on the paper 3 guidelines, read them about your drama paper, and go ahead and do the outline if you want to. But if you want to wait till next week when I do the lecture video, that's fine too. So I'll probably do the lecture video probably on Friday. I'll try to have it up a little bit early since it's a holiday weekend. All right. So if you have any questions, please let me know. But otherwise, we're just rounding out poetry. We're already to the half point of the semester. The summer semester for English 122 goes by far too quickly, and I hate it. I wish I could spend more time with poetry with you all, but we're ramping up towards the research paper, and I want to make sure that we have enough time to work on that because it is longer and it usually takes more time. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I will be in the office at SIC on Tuesday and Wednesday this week. I'm off Monday and Thursday, so I will be there Tuesday and Wednesday if you need anything. But otherwise, I hope you all have had a great weekend. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and I'll talk to you all again very soon with week 5 of English 122. Bye.